Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, Soaring Free, you are number one in here tonight. Hello, hello, hello. God bless. Number one. Number number two, Miss Justice. Much love to you and prayers. Much love to you and yours. God bless. Oh my goodness, we're like 42 days from Christmas. A few more days after that, New Year's. And she has been like in the top four almost consecutively every single time almost this whole year. And she was number one on New Year's Day 2025. And she's been in the top four the whole year, like 9 times out of 10. She's made a believer in me. God bless. God bless, girl. Hey, just get your number. You are number three, sweetie. Number three. All right. Hello, PG and Chad. Hello to you, girl. God bless and much love. And Linda, you are number four. All right. God bless. Hey, Brad, how you doing tonight? Georgia Wild Child, Granny's house. Good to see everybody in here. Hey, there's Australia. How you doing, love? Good to see you. Good to see you tonight. You guys are so kind to each other. God bless you. Hey, Bridget. Good. Hello, PG. Good evening to you. I'm glad I made it again. Much love for you, and God bless you for being there for summer. We love you here in Michigan. Hey, girl. I love you guys too. Amen. I appreciate the kindness and caring there. You don't know how much. Let me see. The legendary says, hello, everyone, family. Amen. Oh, Australia, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And yes, if you ain't hit the thumbs up button, please do. It's free and it helps the channel, keeps the children. You do it for the children, not for PG, but for the children. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Hey, Stephanie, how you doing? It's Fred talking about Summer Bean. And I know, no, you're going to be shocked when you hear what he said. You're going to be shocked, girlfriend. I mean, it took everything I had not to go in there, not to go in there. I don't go around. I don't affiliate myself. You know, for one, the Bible says, do not be swift to run to trouble. So I try not to. You know, I try. I can't say I'm perfect, but I try. And it also, but even more so, it says do not affiliate yourself with those woo woo people, you know, those people that be doing weird stuff. So I can't be, you know, I can't be affiliating myself with that stuff. But, oh, you're going to be so shocked when you hear what he said. Hello, Pauline. How you doing, sweetie? God bless. Much love. Just chilling. Hello, PG Chan Mods. Family Summer PGOA. Hey, girl. God bless. Carrie. That's beautiful. Hey, beautiful PG Mods chat. Good to see you all. Much love. Much love to you, girl. You know it. Hey, Lynn. How you doing? Sherry says hello. Bless says hello. Harry Hall says hello. I'm heading to the bottom. Hey, D-Hex, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you, PG's little girl. Hey, Carla. Act right, bitches. Right? I heard that, girlfriend. Um, hey, Copper, how you doing? Hi, PG. Haven't been in chat in a while. Just wanted you to know I've been watching you and big screen. All right, girl. Big screen TV. My fave. All right. I'm going to be at your house next time. Next time there's a good football game on, I'm coming to your place. Popcorn. I'll bring the popcorn and brownies. Watch your big screen. Amen. So I've been here. Hey, girl, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. God bless. Much love to you. And let me see. I'm heading down here. I'll get a blessing and get my membership back. Woohoo! Yeah, maybe. There you go, girl. Hey, Carmen. How you doing? Good evening, PG. Hope you're having a good week. Almost, oh, girl, tomorrow is Friday, right? Thank God it's Friday. I am so looking forward to the weekend. So looking forward to this weekend. I'm looking forward to a lot of days. All right. I'm looking forward to a lot of days. I hope God gives them all to me. Right? That's the truth. Georgia Wild Child, when a creator gets together and start comparing notes, it seems like a puzzle pieces are coming together. Gives me hope that maybe we can get justice for Summer. Amen. Amen. You know, that's what I say. That's what I say. But Fred is a bona fide liar. Trust me, a bona fide one too. A button. That's cute. And Donna socked it to Jody Sue. Yeah, you know, she did. And I can't, you know, I can't disagree. I cannot disagree with what she said about Jody Sue, because Jody Sue does act like Andy, done all these bad things. And then, you know, instead of going to law enforcement came to her, right? And she told them she could say whatever she wanted to us, that she knows the law, slammed the door in her face, as long as she don't say it to them. And, you know, and they were disheartened, very disheartened about it. But, you know, like they said, there's nothing they can do when you got bitches like that, you know, playing games with a missing little girl's case. There's nothing they can do. And so I had to agree with that statement. I didn't, you know, White Boy's been pretty mean to PG, right? He's been pretty mean to PG. He hasn't, hey D Hicks, how you doing, sweetie? He hasn't, you know, he didn't let his guard down, or maybe I should say his left and right? But, you know, I don't know, you know, maybe I'm a different type of person in this world, you know, but I mean, I should be upset with him, you know, as mean as he was to me all the time. But you know, that's probably the facade he had to put on, you know, to please and appease the Wells. And you know, because I really didn't even know White Boy. I didn't really, you know, him or his wife, you know, until they came after me and kept coming after me. But you know, she says some harsh things about White Boy. And you know, and even as bad as he's been to me, and he's been pretty bad, you know, but I understand, or at least I try to, because, you know, I mean, if he was wanting to get information out of the Wells for Summer's sake and everything, you know, you have to put on a certain persona. You have to put on, you know, that real aggressiveness and ugliness, And, and whether you mean it or you don't, I don't know if he did or didn't. And, I don't care. I don't care. You know, either way it went, words and ugly things like that don't hurt nobody. Um, you know, I've come up against a lot more evilness than that. So that's like, uh, crumbs. That's just like crumbs compared to, you know, the evil I've sustained in my life. But and it really don't bother me. I can brush that kind of stuff aside and just forgive it and move on. But I didn't like the aggressiveness towards White Boy. I mean, for God's sake, this guy just, he just went into a hospital. Um, he could have not made it. He could have not made it with everything going on, and had a lot of people praying for him. I think that's, I think God healed him up and brought him back because, something's good in the guy. I don't know what, but I'm sure there is. And, so, but I can't, she got pretty aggressive, where he was concerned, saying some awful things and even threatened to write notes to all the inmates, around him, if he went back to jail. And I was like, wow, I mean, that's excessive hate. That's really excessive hatred. And I can't agree with stuff like that. That went a little too far. And that's just, this is a true crime community where all of us are doing the best we can with what what we have, the tools we have in this life to try to figure out what happened to these missing kids. I'm sure White Boy wants the answers. I'm sure he is just as obsessed with trying to, find the answers to what happened to this little girl as anyone else is. And because your mind just wants to know. She's out there somewhere. That she needs to be found, brought home, justice served. It's a mystery, and who doesn't want to solve it? Who doesn't want to solve a mystery? We all do, and I think he does too. And and it doesn't matter what measures he feels he has to go to or through to get it done. I think he's trying to get it done, though. I think he's just as much Team Summer as everyone else is. That's what I'm saying. And Don and Candace knew that. Don and Candace ain't stupid. Trust me, I was on the inside. I know how intelligent these bastards are. What I'm saying is, are they high in education? No. But are they high in criminal, in the criminal mind aspect? Yes. They got a very high intelligence level when it comes to the criminal side of life. And they know what people are seeking. And they know, that everybody, they trust no one. They trust absolutely no one. They can barely trust themselves and each other. So they definitely ain't trusting no one else. They gotta watch every word, every movement. They know what they're up against, and they know the price they'll pay for slipping to anyone that's going to go take it straight to law enforcement. And they learned real fast about recordings, right? Everybody records. And they know nobody's their friend. Everybody just wants to know what happened to this little girl and bring her home and get justice for her. And, and I think White Boy's on that page too. And I'm sure Don and Candace knew it. So, that's the thing. And I think, like I said, I think it went a little too far, you know, going sideways at him like that. That was unnecessary. That's what I'm saying. That was totally, just like, wow. I mean, if you could measure that hate, if you could measure that type of hate, it would be off the Richter scales, right? I mean, that's just, it is what it is. I don't want to have that kind of hate. And I don't need to, I don't need to go at, I don't need to go at people, to get sleep. I don't need to go at people to get rest. Um, but evil people do. That's the one thing I know about people who get into that weird shit is, they have to piss somebody off in order to get rest. Well, you're not going to get no rest from me, right? You're not going to. And that's probably what, she was seeking was to really piss White Boy off and Jody Sue and them. And so, she could get some rest or something. I don't know. And then she said, she's going to do another reading and how hard these readings are because she has to see all this evil stuff that these evil people are doing to, to Summer. And I didn't like that shit either. I'm just going to be upfront and straight with people. I don't believe a fucking word she's saying. I don't believe that, I don't know what the fuck the devil showed her. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what the fuck the devil's showing her. But I don't believe any of it's true. And I do know the devil's a liar. So when you're affiliating yourself with the devil, you don't know what the hell you're seeing. You don't know what you're seeing, and you don't know if it's true or not because you're affiliating yourself with the liar. And, and to be honest with you, it just pissed me off to hear, this woman talking about Summer being brutally done like this. I think Summer went through a hell of a lot and a hell of enough before she went to that swimming hole. I think Summer did get put through hell by Don and Candace and a whole lot of other people. But I think, in my opinion, this is my opinion. In my opinion, Summer's hell was over when Hunter walked into that water. Summer's hell was over. When he walked into that water, her hell was over on this earth. I believe that the Lord Jesus Christ took that baby by the hand at that swimming hole. And she went with the Lord. And she got propped up in that vehicle, taken into Allison's house, cleaned up, dressed, some makeup put on her because she was already turning the wrong shade of blues. And I believe that they got her back to Ben Hill Road, put her in a tote, and took her over to that cemetery or somewhere and buried her. Now that's my opinion, and I don't think anyone on no damn fucking overstuffed sofas or anything else tortured that little girl the way this lady's trying to say. And this woman has changed her story too. She has changed her story up a few times to my understanding. So, and then they want to sit there and talk about who you should support and who you shouldn't. I'm going to tell you this. I know what the Bible says. The Bible says you better not be supporting no woo-wooers. You better not even be affiliating yourself with woo-wooers. It says stay the hell away from them. That's what it says. You better stay away from them. So, that's all I got to say. But anyway, I'm gonna get to it tonight. Hey, Patty Ponytail, good to see you, girlfriend. Absolutely. Heaven's Gateway, how you doing? Yeah, there is truth in all lies. I believe that too. I believe that there's a little truth somewhere, you know. Um, somewhere probably there is. Anyway, I'm gonna get straight. I'm gonna get straight to what I came in here for tonight, because this really upsetted me. Yes, they have. Absolutely, PG's little girl, they have. Hey, Mills, good to see you. Um, yeah, that's true. That's true, Karen. Um, but I didn't see Jody Seuss. I didn't see Jody Seuss' son walking into that water. Um, I didn't see him looking at the camera like, "What the f you doing?" I didn't see the camera go off when he was walking into the water. I seen it go off when Hunter was walking into the water. I didn't see Jody Sue's son, you know, talking about Summer being wet on a pillow laying against the back driver's side door. That was Hunter. That was Dare saying it. Jody Sue's son wasn't shaking like a leaf on a tree, having all kinds of mental issues and complications after going to that swimming hole. That was Hunter. Everything adds up to Hunter, not Jody Sue's son. You gotta follow the truth. You gotta follow the truth. You gotta follow the facts. And the fact is, Hunter was there, not Jody Sue's son. That's, I think if the truth does come out, the truth does get told, I believe that this is what I believe you're going to hear. I think you're going to hear that Hunter unalived Summer for Candace. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. I think you're going to hear that he was the one that did it, and they brought her back, and it was Fred Hill and Laura, Jody Sue and Andy, and Chad Arnold, and a bunch of those low life people who was up there involved in all this kind of stuff, along with Marlena Crawford and other ones, just like Allison. I think it's a ring of really undesirable individuals. And I think you're going to hear that they took this little girl and buried her somewhere in a black tote. I think if Summer's found tomorrow, she'll be found in a black tote, buried up somewhere. That's just my opinion. I'm going to keep it because the black tote was there on the 12th. It's gone 1 week later. 1 week later, it's gone when Chris M went up there and was videoing around. The black tote's missing. Um, everything's picked up and cleaned up around that nasty fucking trailer when it wasn't cleaned up and picked up on the 12th. But it sure to hell was picked up and cleaned up after that. So, I truly believe that that's what you're gonna, what you're gonna hear. That's just my opinion because that's where all the evidence is pointing. And it goes with everything law enforcement's been saying. Everything that law enforcement's been saying, it adds up to. So, nothing else adds up to it except that. Anyway, I want you guys to hear what Fred had to say.
Yeah.
Oh, in my reading, there's a gold overstuffed couch. I don't know that made it onto the internet or not.
Okay, well,
But they were trying to give so when Summer woke up, she didn't recognize the people where she was at, and she was real scared. And they put her on this gold overstuffed couch, and then they were trying to give her a teddy bear so that she would to ingratiate her a little, but she was really scared.
And what's strange about that, there's pictures out there of Summer looks like she's naked on a gold couch.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a gold looking chair.
Gold chair, gold couch, or something.
Did you hear what he said? Did you just hear what he said about Summer? Does anybody else need to hear that again? Put a 1 in the chat if you need to hear. If you need a repeat of what he said about this little girl on a gold couch. I'm going to tell you right now, I have seen every single picture. I mean, I went through every Facebook that Candace went, and she had a hell of a lot of them. I went through every last one. I seen every picture. Matter of fact, I got all her pictures. I got every last one of these pictures. That's pretty much what I think took down my other computer, was all of them pictures that I was storing from these cases. But there was not one picture of this baby like that. Not one. But Fred said he saw it. He said, I seen it, right? He said, I saw it.
Little, but she was really scared.
And what's strange about that, there's pictures out there of Summer looks like she's naked on a gold couch.
Really?
No, there's not. No, there's not, Fred. No, there's not. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. Yeah, OMG, right? Just chilling. OMG. Yeah, that's what he said today. That's what he said today on part 2 of his little, their little bullshit talks with Sweetie Pie or Sweetie, what I don't really know. She seems like a really nice person. She really does. I hope she don't buy their bullshit. But there is not one picture. And you know what, Fred? We want you to produce. You and Ziggy need to produce that picture. You need to mother freaking show that picture ASAP. Put a 1 in the chat if you feel they need to show this picture ASA fucking P after making a statement like that about a 5-year-old little girl. That is BS. That is BS. You and Ziggy either need to put up or shut the fuck up. Because I want to see that picture. Because that picture don't exist, bitches. It don't exist. There is no picture like that of this little girl. Unless Fred Heels packing one around in his fucking wallet. There ain't one. And I'm going to tell you something. This motherfucker knew he fucked up. And then Ziggy tried to save him. She tried to come in and save him. Listen to this bullshit.
Yeah, well, it's like a gold looking chair.
Gold chair, gold couch, or something like that.
Weird. Do you remember where these photos are? I'd never seen them.
No.
I think we sent it to Donna,
Okay.
but it was just but I guess it wouldn't be that one if it was a one that she didn't know, because the way Donna's saying it, it sounds like it would be a place she didn't know about. But this
Yeah.
picture would be.
I mean, it's just odd that it was a ghost, you know.
Yeah, that's really weird.
You hear that bullshit? Right here. Listen to this. He knew he fucked up. Listen to this.
But it was just but
Yeah, it was I think because there ain't one. You didn't send that to nobody because there ain't fucking no picture like that. There's not a damn picture like that. You're full of shit. You're full of fucking shit, Ziggy, and so is Fred. Now I want to know where Fred saw Summer like that, where he saw her like that on a sofa. Because he said he did. He said he did, but it wasn't in no picture. It wasn't in no picture. Is that what he finally, is that finally what came to his mind? Is, oh hell, it wasn't a picture. Is that what came to his mind? Did he speak before he thought? Did he talk before he had time to think? Because there is no picture like that. None. Not a damn one. I'm going to tell you. You want to see the pictures? You want to see the pictures like Summer has? Let me find it here. Right here. There's the sofa. There's the only sofa. Pretty much that was ever shown in any pictures where Candace was concerned. These kids were seen sitting outside. They were seen sitting at a table. They were seen sitting on beds. They were seen sitting at a party. They were seen sitting at the church. These kids were not seen sitting on no damn sofas. They were seen sitting at the barbershop. They were seen sitting at the doctor's office. But they was not seen inside no houses on sofas. So won't you show us one, Fred? Show us one. Because they were always sitting on a bed. Always sitting on beds. Even in the Christmas pictures, they're sitting on beds. They didn't seem to ever have a sofa. And the sofa that's supposed to have been in the basement against the door was blue. It was not gold. It was blue that was down in the basement. But Fred, and then then Ziggy says, oh, well, it wouldn't be the same picture that the closest picture would have been the one up here where Summer's, the second one at the top. The second one at the top to the right. If you're looking at the screen, it would be to the right. That would have been the closest picture of her sitting and it's like a booth. It's like a booth, you know, a big booth seat, like at a restaurant, that she's sitting in. And but she's not what he said. She's not what he said. She has a pair of shorts on. She has a pair of shorts on in that. You know, but that would have been the closest one. That would have been the closest. And you know, and it's a black and white picture. You can't tell what color that is behind her. You can't tell what color that seat is behind her. Hell, I wouldn't know. Does Fred know something we don't? Does Fred know something we don't know? And then he says, and then Ziggy tries to say, well, it wouldn't be the one that she's talking about because she's talking that her vision, she was seeing somebody else's house, a big overstuffed sofa at someone else's home. She tried to save the day, right? Oh, we don't need to find it because that wouldn't be what she's talking about anyway, Fred. Because Fred done knew he screwed up. And he still was jabbering because he knew he screwed up too. He knows there's no picture of Summer like that. So what the fuck was he talking about? And I'm going to tell you, so, okay, it's not the picture in her vision, but it's the fucking picture in Fred's vision. Fred said it's there, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with me that he said there is a picture of her like that. So it is in his vision. And we damn want to see it. We damn want to see it. We want him to produce it. Because personally, I think he fucked up. Personally, there is no picture like that. He cannot produce a picture like that. But in his motherfucking mind, he saw a picture like that. So where did he see it? And when was he there? And how did he see? That's my questions. That's my questions. You're trying to say that he's trying to say that this is the picture, that this is supposed to be the picture. That ain't a gold sofa. That isn't a gold sofa. That right there is a brown. That's a brown booth. That is a brown restaurant booth right there. That's a booth at a restaurant. That is actually a booth. And there's no way that she didn't have pants on and shoes, because that's inside of a restaurant. That's a brown. That's not gold. That's not gold. Gold is right here.
I guess it wouldn't be that one.
That's gold. You see that back there? That's gold. Gold is yellow. It's yellow. This is brown. Right here, this is brown. That's not gold. So this is not the picture. This is not the picture. He said that she was, I'll play it again. I'll play it again because it don't matter to me. I'll play it again. I mean, this shit's coming out his mouth, not PG's. It wouldn't come out of my mouth.
And they put her on this gold overstuffed couch, and then they were trying to give her a teddy bear so that like she would to ingratiate her a little, but she was really scared.
And what's strange about that, there's pictures out there of Summer looks like she's naked on a gold couch.
Really?
See? On a golden couch. That is a restaurant booth. That is brown, not gold. He said that there is pictures out there with her on a golden couch. In her birthday, on a golden couch. That's what he said. There you go. Yeah, and the white shirt I put on her. I drawed the white shirt on her because I'm not showing, she's a girl. She's a girl. And yes, Candace let those kids run around and, with no shirt on. But every picture I've ever seen of Summer, sitting on, chair or something like that. Or she's had shorts. She always has a diaper or shorts, or she's wearing something, she's wearing something on her, on her. I did see some pictures that made me wonder what the hell was going on a bunk bed. Somebody had her laying up on a bunk bed, and it made me question what the hell was happening there. But other than that, and I wondered, and I did wonder why Candace had taken the picture why Candace had taken the picture here, the second one from the top, the second picture at the top, on that booth. It made me wonder why, why she would be, because Summer had a handful of food. And in her other hand, she had a handful of food. She was eating. I don't know if it's French fries, what she had in her hand, but she was eating. But I wondered, why would you snap a picture of your child, at a restaurant with just a pair of shorts on, eating? It's because she's a girl. She should have had a top on, right? She should have been wearing a top, especially if you're out at a restaurant. Your little girl should have a top on. But, I guess in Tennessee, in the backwooded areas, they don't put tops on their children. I don't know. That's my thing. Oh yeah, I seen the boys in girls' clothes. Yes, I did. I seen the boys wearing girls' clothes. I actually seen one of the boys with makeup on. I saw one of the boys actually had makeup on his face. So, it was like, what the hell was up with that? And Don was sitting in the picture, grinning like a real fucking weirdo. Right? That was pretty disturbing, if you ask me. And that's true. Those photos, well, if he, the only photo that I ever seen Summer, you know, not wearing in her, where she was like maybe 2 or 3 years old, and that's when they was putting that addition on the house, and Candace had posted up a picture of Summer, that's the only picture I ever seen where, you know, she shouldn't have been posting it up. Um, you know, that's the only one I ever saw where Summer, did not have the diaper on or anything. And I thought that was, pretty disgusting. You're letting your child outside like that, with a bunch of weird men working and around outside, around stuff that could hurt her. And you ain't got clothing on her. I thought that was, pretty disgusting. But, and it's even more disgusting that she took a picture of it and posted it out for the whole world to see. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. There is everything in the world wrong with posting, a child. Actually, I don't know why she didn't go to jail for that alone. Because wouldn't that be considered, child, the child? No, I would think so. That's, so why didn't Candace go to jail? Why didn't she go to jail for posting that picture of a child totally, undressed like that? Because if anyone else would have done that, children's services have been all over them and their kids would have been getting took. You ain't supposed to post any child without clothing on it. Right? But that ain't what's disturbing here. That is disturbing. And I don't know why she didn't get in trouble for it. But what's even more disturbing is Brad Hill saying, I seen her on a golden sofa like that. Now, where the hell do you see it? Because there's no pictures of it. I'm bringing you up, PGs.
Okay.
What's up, girl?
Hey, I sent you a picture
I
of
seen that
Messenger
picture.
in Australia.
I
second
seen
one?
that. Isn't it? That ain't a gold
All right, there's
sofa.
two of them.
That's the
No,
same
it's not.
picture. That's the same picture that I've got up here. The middle picture right here.
Okay.
The same
And the one with
exact.
her legs crossed?
She's got a pair of shorts on.
Okay.
She
I wanted to
has
make
a
sure
pair.
me in Australia sent the same one.
she has a pair of shorts on. There's no shirt. She's got a handful of French fries or something, and she's sitting in a restaurant booth eating, and she has a pair of shorts on.
Okay.
Now I put this black outfit on her because
Okay.
I don't bring pictures like that out here.
No,
Um,
no.
But she's at a restaurant eating food and she's got a pair of shorts on. And Candace did take a picture of it, which I thought was, pretty disgusting,
Right. Very, yes.
but Candace takes disgusting pictures. And,
I know I sent you two, and I think Phoebe did too, hon. I just want to make sure there's the right ones.
you know what I think? I think that they was into some child,
Like a
some
child
child
porn.
stuff,
Yeah.
but
Well, I'm gonna jump off panel. I love you, Mama. Sorry for
yeah,
interrupting.
yeah. You see on here, her shorts ain't that color though. Her
Right.
shorts ain't this color.
Okay. Well, hopefully we sent the right ones. Like I said, you
And
probably have them. I can't see because I'm up here.
it's the same exact picture, but the shorts
Okay.
ain't that color.
Right.
And that's a
Very
chair.
crazy.
That's a
Yes, it's
chair.
like a half bench chair, like in a
Yeah.
Mexican restaurant or something.
Yes.
That's what I thought. All right. Well, I love you. Prayers. Didn't mean to interrupt.
All right. That I can't bring that photo up here. I cannot bring that photo up here. I wouldn't bring that photo up here. But I will put a one in the chat if you are on Summer's Facebook. A one in the chat if you are on Summer's Facebook. Because a lot of you are on Facebook. Summer, no, she hasn't been gone for 7 years. Summer has been gone for 4 years and 5 months. She's been gone for 4 years and 5 months. Yeah, he said he saw her. He said he saw her on a sofa, completely undressed. He used the N word, right? He used the N word. So, you know, meaning she had, birthday suit. And she and in no pictures is she like that. In no pictures is she like that. Right? Exactly, Chris. That's what he said. And even in no picture, even the one I just went and looked at, she's got shorts on. She's got shorts on in both pictures, and all the pictures I've seen, except the one that Candace posted up and then took down when they were putting the addition onto the house. And then there was something weird going on in the basement. They had her up on the top bunk. They had some of her laying up on the top bunk. It looked like they were doing some weird stuff. And there was a man in there, a man with tattoos all over his arm. I actually covered that and asked if anyone knew who has those tattoos. That was in that basement at that time. Who's talking about me? She's talking about you, PG. Who's talking about me? Hey, Jessica, who's talking about me? When they talk about me, they talking about their fucking best. Let me tell you that right now. They talking about their best. Right? That's what they talking about. Oh, Ziggy. You know what? Won't that bitch get on her broom and fly off and find some damn truth and bring it back instead of a bunch of bullshit lies? Huh? She's another one of those woo-woo fucking weirdos sitting there flipping her cards. Flip. Oh, this means this and that means that. Oh, you're going to have a good day. You're going to have a good day. Oh, flip. There's the twin card. You're going to have a best buddy to hang with you today. Well, let me flip a card for you, Ziggy, since you want to run your soot on somebody that tells the truth and goes after the truth and has done nothing out here but diligently work for this child to be found, brought home, and justice served. Let me flip a card for you. You all fucked up today. You know what? Flip. Oh, you fucked up when Fred admitted he saw Summer in her birthday suit on a mother freaking gold sofa. Okay? He fucked up. Because there's no picture like that. So why don't your ass produce it if there is? Because you can't. And then you're like, oh, well, you don't need it because it ain't what she's talking about anyway. So, let's just drop it, Fred, because you done fucked up. Right, Ziggy? That's the card I'm seeing. I just flipped it. Right there, baby. Right there. Right? Let's read your cards, Ziggy. I think I got some pretty good cards around here somewhere. Oh yeah. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Let's do this, Biggie. Oh, here's some cards. Yeah, let's flip them. Let's flip them here. What do? Ain't that how you do it? And then you flip them like that. And then you shuffle them. like that. And let's see your card, Ziggy. Oh fucking maid. Oh fucking maid. Right? That's why you're with Fred. Because you're an old fucking maid. There you go. Yeah. Right? What's your next card? Oh, let's see your next card. Fucking astronaut, because you got your damn head up in the air, right? You get your fucking head in the clouds all the time. Big fucking astronaut. Yeah. That's what the fuck I see. That's why you stand outside a fucking prison gate with the damn marriage license in your fucking hand. Oh, you want to marry me? No. Right? Even Fred didn't want to marry your ass until he went to jail. When he's a free man, he wanted to stay free, right? Then his ass went to jail. And then he ended up with nowhere to live because his sister sold the house. His sister sold everything out from underneath him. He had no place to go back to. And he's like, wow, hell, I'm trapped now. Why not go to Ziggy's? Why not go to Ziggy's place? And he went to your place, and the poor mother freaker said that your damn food's worse than prison food, right? He's trying to hide outside and fucking talk to me so he didn't have to eat your dinner. Crazy shit. So you just sit over there and keep talking. You keep talking, because I want to know where the hell that picture is. I want Fred to produce it. I want him to produce that mother freaking picture, right? I want Fred to tell us, I want him to tell us why he sits around with cars running around his fucking head. Why don't you tell us that, Fred? Tell us. I don't see these kids. I don't see none of these kids in these pictures right here. And that's about the only time these kids get to sit down. I ain't see none of them. Like he said, and I didn't see no gold fucking sofa that she was laying on either. And let's talk, Fred. Let's talk about Candace in the septic tank, because you was screaming you thought she'd come down there and put Summer in your septic tank. But you didn't check it. You didn't have law enforcement down there checking everything. No, you didn't check a damn thing. You said all this shit like years fucking later, you're talking all this bullshit. And then you said, oh, well, she might have stuck her in one of your fucking vehicles you went to crush. She could have stuck Summer in your vehicle. Let's talk about it, Fred, because hell, that's number 2 story, right? First the septic tank, then one of your vehicles. And you want to know something, Fred? You want to know what I've had against you for a long time? Is the fact that I think it was your ideal to shave this little girl's head bald as a cue. Because your daughter had gotten her kids took and their hair had just gotten tested for drugs, and you was the one hanging around with Don Wells. You even admitted that anytime Don was issues, he would come to you and you would tell him how to handle stuff with the law and how to do things. And I think he came to you. And I think you told him to shave this little girl's head completely bald so they couldn't get a sample of her hair to tell that she had been being sedated. Now that's what I think. That's my opinion. That she had been being sedated. And put a 1 in the chat if you noticed that those Wells kids didn't ever seem to get cut bald all at once. That like the boy would be bald, or the other kid would be bald, or Summer would be bald. Put a 1 in the chat if you noticed it was like take fucking turns shaving these kids' heads off. Was that because of the sedation? Was they, and Jody Sue said, not just Summer, that they wasn't just sedating Summer. And you know, there's a market for little boys just like little girls, right? Put it 2 in a chat if you know there's a market for little boys just like little girls. Yeah, and I find it fucking awful suspicious that those other kids were all shaved up, bald-headed as well. Just my opinion while we're on the subject of it. But I think this is Fred Hill's mother freaking mouth that got this baby's head shaved completely bald. In my opinion. I think this was his suggestion. Just saying. And that's really why I don't fucking like him. And he sits and acts like, you know, he's not a Bernard. Yes, he is. Fred's a fucking Bernard because Andy's his cousin. They got the same damn Bernard blood running through their asses, both of them. Freaking Fred's got Bernard blood running through his ass just like Andy does. And I don't care what, you know, what he has to say. Your cousin's got Bernard blood. You got Bernard blood too. Because now you're cousins. Your blood. Period. You know. I mean, sit up there, Fred, with looking and feeling all proud when somebody says, oh, you're not a Bernard. The hell if you ain't. That's your cousin. So don't look so damn proud. You cut from the same fucking shitty piece of cloth, right? There you go. To be honest with you, I think Andy's cloth might have been a little bit fucking cleaner than Fred's. Just saying. Just saying. And I tell you another thing. I learned a whole lot of stuff. Over the last couple of days. You know, like all of these people seem to be into this woo-woo shit. Right? Fred Hill's mother, a witch. His sister, a witch. His whole family practicing damn witchcraft. You think it's your mother, if your mother was a witch, you think that you're not going to be subject to all of that witchy stuff? Of course you are. Of course you are. You think Fred was just, like, not, if his sister's one, his mother's one, I guess, he would be a warlock. He would be a warlock, not a witch, right? Of course, a mother's going to have her kids into the stuff that she's in. Like that. And also that Ryan finds truth. I hear, I just heard that his daughter's all into that occult shit, right? All into that woo-woo, voodoo, weird shit. Right? I mean, and his wife, she's like, oh, I got a vision. You twisted tea can. Let's go see. There it is. Right after she disappeared. Right? She disappears, runs off somewhere. Then she comes running back with a vision of a twisted tea can. Of course. One that she just sucked the fuck down. Threw it on the ground and ran back there, oh, ain't that strange? Twisted tea can and we're looking for Summer, yeah. What's strange is you picked it up to make sure there wasn't another drink left in it. Because you believe in fucking getting it all out of the can, right? You shook it around, there wasn't a piece of dirt on it. There wasn't a piece of dirt on it because it's a fresh can you just put there. Come on. What the hell? I'm going to tell you something. That's why I don't believe in that woo-woo shit. I don't believe in it. I mean, I believe these people, probably going to end up in hell because they're all weird and thinking they're doing some weird shit. But I don't believe in the woo-woo stuff. I just don't believe in it because, you know, I know a lot of people who's into that weird shit, you know, that witchy stuff and occult stuff and all that kind of thing. And, you know, these motherfuckers have to physically come and do dirty shit. I mean, if they got all of this magic, why didn't they magically do shit? Why don't they magically be able to do stuff? I mean, why do they have to come and physically, you know, bust up your vehicle? Why do they got to come and physically fucking, you know, and try to get into your house and do dirty shit? Why do they got to physically have to fucking, you know, do stuff if they got all of this power from the devil? All I got to say is the devil must not like these motherfuckers because they really have to work. They have to fucking work, you know, to do their evilness. You know, I'm going to tell you what, I don't have to work at shit. I don't have to work at nothing. My Jesus died on that cross. My Lord and my Savior died on that cross so that I could have eternal life for free. For free. I don't have to do anything except accept it, and I have. And I have. I just had to accept it. And through God's grace, my eyes were open and I'll be living forever and ever and ever. Amen. And I don't have to do nothing except get up and live life beautiful every day. Eat, drink, and be happy. That's all I got to do. Be kind to people, loving, caring. Laugh, make people's lives worth living. I don't have to go do no evil shit. I don't have to crawl around in the dark. I don't have to shuffle cards. I don't have to see a bunch of weird shit that freaks me the fuck out. Right? Don't have to go through all that. Don't have to worry about the devil jumping up on a stump and saying your time's up. And drop you, you know, give you a boot in hell. You know, I don't make deals with the devil. I ain't afraid of the devil. I wasn't ever afraid of the devil, you know, because God hurled him out of heaven. If the devil really had any power, he wouldn't have got hurled out of heaven onto the earth, right? He wouldn't be running around trying to devour whoever he can to go to hell with him. If he had any power, the only power he has is to devour people who want to be fucking evil. That's it. And really, he ain't devouring them. They're devouring themselves. Because it's their choice. Their choice to be evil, right? Their choice. I don't play with boo-boo shit. I don't play with it. I'm going to tell you something. I've been around with those people. They fucking, you know, end up they end up in those places where, you know, doctors are wearing white coats, right? They end up in places where doctors are wearing white coats. Fuck that. Right? They're sleeping with crosses. They're sleeping with crosses above their bed and stuff because they're afraid. Hell, why the fuck would you get into something that you're afraid of? Right? Like if I was going to get into that shit, if I was going to get in that shit, which I'm not, and I wouldn't ever. But if I was, I'm going to tell you what, I sure in the hell ain't going to be sitting my ass in a dump like Ziggy, right? I'm not going to be sitting in a fucking dump like her, mother freaking eating Roman noodles, walking to the fucking dollar store with Fred. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be living up in fucking Hollywood. I'm going to be having limousines and fur coats. I'm going to be fucking walking down Fifth Avenue. Right? Buying anything and everything I want out of all them expensive stores. I mean, shit, if you're going to end up in hell for eternity, don't you think you should get more than some Roman fucking noodles and a dump like Ziggy's? No damn car, your 2 feet or your wheels. Come on. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand, people all poor and shit, dressed up like the night of the living fucking dead, walking around looking all crazy. And they ain't got nothing. They ain't got a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out of. What the fuck? That don't make no sense to me. On the movies, all these people get stuff. All right? They get stuff. What's on there, girl? Who will pay? I'm going to tell you what. I remember they was talking about that 48-hour shit. Right? They was talking about that 48-hour stuff. And I'm going to tell you, they ain't even going to get close to 48 hours. They was all hoping that they're going to make a Ben Hill movie. And they was, Jody Sue thought she's going to be a superstar. I'm going to tell you something. The only thing that bitch could star in is the mother freaking Muffets, right? The motherfucking Muffets. And I don't have to tell you which one she would be. And fucking Fred would be Froggy. And Fred, why does Andy need to be on Ben Hill Road on June 15, 2021? He wasn't there. You know he wasn't there. But you keep saying he was there, and it's bullshit. It's pure bullshit. He was not there. He was at work all day. All day, law enforcement checked into it. He has a solid alibi. He don't only have his phone, but he had GPS. Right off of Jody Sue's vehicle. GPS. He was at work the whole day. Just like Don. Don had his phone. Don had Starlink. Don had his boss. He had a friend. He had everybody he could, knowing exactly where his ass was at the time Summer came up missing. There you go. There you go. I'll tell you who don't have an alibi, who don't have a phone, who don't have no GPSs, who don't have shit. It's you, Fred. It's you. You have no damn receipts as to where you was on June 15, 2021 when this little girl disappeared. You. right there. Andy was at work all day, right? He wasn't up on Ben Hill, flying around in vehicles. He wasn't up on Ben Hill, having whatever Fred has, some psychosis of cars flying all over the place that wasn't even there. No, Fred's up there playing traffic cop, blowing his whistle, looking like mother freaking, like, I'm surprised he didn't say Frosty the Snowman crossed the street. And I tell you, Fred's the one that was hanging with Dawn. Fred wants to talk. Don Wells was at your house, Fred. He was at your house all day. The night of June the 15th, 2021, he was at your house all evening. He was down at your house on the 16th. He was at your house on the 17th. He was at your house on the 18th. He was at your house on the 19th. Bitch, tell me he wasn't. Because I know the fuck he was. There you go. He was hanging at your house. He wasn't hanging at Andy's. He was hanging at your place. Right where Candace came at 4:30 and met up with Chad Arnold. That is where Don had hung the whole time. During the time they were searching for Summer. Law enforcement was in there. He was at Fred's house every fucking day. Fred didn't need to go down to Don's house to be wired up and talk to Don. Because Don was at his fucking house all the time. He could have been wired up the whole time talking to fucking Don. And then he says, he thought law enforcement set him up. No, Fred, it was you. If anybody did anything, if they really did wire you up and that bitch went wrong, it's because you fucked with it. So you could let Don know. And he was getting mother freaking recorded. That was you. You and Don was so close, we thought for sure that he was going to propose to you. Right? You've been, and hell, you're even still talking to Don. You're still talking to him. You've been talking to him the whole mother freaking time. Just like Andy. Just like Jody Sue. Just like all of y'all. Y'all been talking. Even Laura. All you motherfuckers have been keeping contact. Fred knows everything going on in Tennessee. Everything. He knew where Marlena Crawford was all the fucking time. He knew where she was. Because he's talking to the people down there, knowing where everybody is. Because his ass knows if one person says something, they're all going down. Right? Put a one in the chat if you agree. Right here, Jody Sue and her son. Big lion scream. Big lion scream. And Candace told her she needed to change it because it wasn't working. She said, oh, hell no, I'm not. You give me my half of that stuff like you promised. Right? Where's my money? Where's my stuff? I said, is that Jody Sue? I know that's Jody Sue. I know her voice when I hear it. Candace said, yeah, it's her. I said, she giving you half of her fucking money? Candace said, no. I said, you tell that bitch you ain't giving her none. She making her fucking own. Why in the hell she need yours? Right. Jody Sue felt she was entitled. Half of everything coming into the Wells for her and her son lying about the damn screen. Right. I'm going to tell you, there wasn't no big overstuffed sofa and people in masks, a masquerade party, scaring some kid, doing all this terrifying stuff. That's weird. That's just fucking weird. Yeah. You know what? Why don't we go out there and interview some dealers. Let's go interview some dealers and ask them, hey, what would you do if someone owed you a bunch of money for your stuff and they didn't pay you, what would you do? Would you take their kid and babysit it? Would you take their kid home, babysit it until they could get the money together and pay you and then give them their kid back? They'd be like, what? Fuck no. Girl, I don't even want to watch my own fucking kids. That's my old lady's job. That's my girl. Why you think I got a baby mama for? That's what a baby mama for. I ain't be watching nobody's kid. You don't pay me my shit, and I tell you what I'm going to do. I ain't going to be looking for your kid. I'm going to be looking for your ass. You don't bring me the fucking money, I'm going to be looking for you. I ain't going to be taking no kid. What the fuck? I look like a babysitter? Hell no. I ain't opening a fucking nursery. You know how many people doesn't pay? You know how many people want fronted and don't pay? This guy's going to have a fucking nursery in his house? Come on. That's bullshit. That's just insane. Yeah, we're going to put masks on and scare them too. So you better hurry up and work and get that money. What the hell? I ain't never heard no shit like it. That's insane. I mean, somebody's been, you know, freaking, you know, going down a rabbit hole a little too far. That's my opinion. I'm going to tell you right now. Look at these three. Look at these three people. Look at how sick this baby is. He goes into the water. She ends up like this. Come on. I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to mother figure out what happened to this little girl. It don't take a rocket scientist. Hey, this is the last picture ever taken of her, and you could tell she's already turned. Look at her temples. You could tell she's no longer with us. I mean, that's why that boy was, you know, having all kinds of mental issues when he got home. That's why he was having all the kinds of mental issues, talking about, what am I going to have to do? Just live with this the rest of my life? He knows what the hell he did. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. And I don't blame him. He don't want to go to prison. Look at her. Look here. Look here. You could tell she's sick. She is. Look at this child. She's dwindling down. She's already dwindling down. And there she is. There she is. And there's the black tote that disappeared. It's there on the 12th. The day of the 12th is gone. 1 week later, when Chris is up there, it's gone. Where did it go? Right there. Right there. You want to put the right people in prison? Right there they are. Right there they are. Allison made it out. She made it. She don't have to worry about prison. You know, and I believe that Candace is trying to catch up with Hunter. I think Candace is trying to catch up with Hunter. Right? Hunter's done 3, Candace 2. I think she's trying to catch up with him. That's just my opinion. There you go. And that picture was not, this picture back here, this picture right here of Summer and her little girlfriend, that picture was taken on the 12th. That was taken on June 12th. Exactly when it was took. And on the 15th, she disappeared. Now, this picture, I don't know. I don't know, but you could tell she's already sick. It's after they cut her hair, and she's already sick. But I'm going to tell you, if anybody ends up in jail for what happened to this little girl, it's going to be these two right here, along with Grandis, along with Donald, and probably along with a few others. Possibly Fred. Right? Possibly Fred. And let's talk about Roy Cotton. Let's talk about Roy Cotton. Because you know what? The very day that Roy Cotton ends up dead, him and Fred had a talk about Summer. They had a talk about Summer. You don't believe me? I'm going to show you proof. I'm going to show you the proof. Because I got proof. I bring proof. Where's Ziggy's proof? Where's her proof? I want to see it. I want to see that proof. Right here. I got it. I always bring the proof.
Shot in the wall.
So you lost your kids because Fred
Yes.
shot the gun through the wall.
Because Fred's sister come in and had her pistol out, and they was arguing, and Fred shot through the wall so couldn't scare her away.
Oh my Lord. And that's when you lost your kids?
Actually, the day after I lost my kids.
How old was they?
My daughters were 13 and 14, and my little boy was a year old, and my little girl was my and Fred's little girl together was 6.
Oh wow.
She was in kindergarten.
And you ain't seen your kids since?
I've seen my girls, but I ain't seen my little boy since he was a year old.
Oh wow. Did your little boy go to your family, or they adopt?
Yeah.
He's with your family too?
But they won't let me see him.
Wow. So Fred wasn't willing to straighten up, and
But actually, they wouldn't let me see him while I was with Fred.
how is Fred now? I mean, what do you think Ziggy's got on her hands?
Got a handful of.
I mean,
He's not nothing like he tries to put out there. I'll just tell you that much.
do you think that Cotton had anything to do with what happened to Summer? I mean, do you think Fred's telling the truth when it comes to
Cotton
Summer's
said
case?
something to Fred, but I don't know what he said.
And then Cotton ended up dead?
Yep.
Oh, wow. What he said to Fred, was it about Summer's case? Do you know if it was about Summer's case or not?
Fred come in and said something that he told him something about Summer, but he didn't tell me the details. He said I didn't need to know because I didn't need to be in the middle of it.
Oh, Lord. Wow. And do you know if law
Said
enforcement...
he was protecting me.
Did you hear that? Said he was protecting me. Fred said he was protecting me right here. Wow. And do you know if law
Said
enforcement...
he was protecting me.
Said he's protecting me. Know if law
Said
enforcement...
he was protecting me.
Said he's protecting me. And Cotton came up dead that same exact evening when Fred followed him, right? When Fred followed him. And, oh, PG, do you have the proof on that? Yeah, right out of the horse's fucking mouth. Right out of the horse's fucking mouth. Oh, did Don Wells, Don Wells is, and Candace both, they're adamantly saying, we don't know Cotton Simpson. We don't know this guy. We ain't never seen this guy. We know nothing about this guy. Is that true?
Well, I do know that Cotton, the last time I spoke to him, he was talking about being up at 110 the day Summer went missing. And he's talking about sleeping with mother and daughter. He didn't say whether it was Candace and Grandis or Summer and Candace.
Right.
That's what kind of confused me, you know. He didn't specifically say exactly which one.
Do you remember that right after Summer's disappearance that Don and Candace and all of them, they was acting really... Grandis ran the hell out of there. Andy Bernard ran the hell out of there.
Well, see, the law enforcement made Grandis leave because she's not allowed around children, period.
Well,
I do know that.
There was. Law enforcement didn't make Grandis leave. Grandis didn't even leave till after the boys were taken. She was up there the whole time the boys were there. And after they got took, she came flying off that damn hill like a bat out of Hades. And next thing you know, Andy got right behind her and he flew out of there too, right? Both of them ran like hell. Come on. Didn't you find that suspicious? I mean, if you're not guilty of anything, you're not going to fucking, throw up the dust and blow out of a place that quick. Unless your ass is scared of something. There's no children. They took the boys and Summer was missing. There was no children. So.
Well, she didn't come, see, she left and didn't come back after the boys was took.
Right. She took off. Actually, Grandis took the hell out of there after the boys were taken. And Andy Bernard, I don't know which one of them got out of there the fastest because Grandis went first. Andy went right after Grandis. Jody Sue went right after Andy. And the funny thing is right there after Cotton Simpson came up unalived, Cotton Simpson had quite a bit of money on him. He had just barely done... Was he at your house the day?
Yeah.
He was there
the day before.
The day before he ended up dead, or the very day?
The day before.
He was at your home.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
The evening before.
Yeah, the evening before. They found him the next morning. The very day he ends up dead, he's at Fred's house. Now listen to what Fred says. He followed this man. The very day he ended up dead, him and a buddy, they followed this man.
Not the day that they found him. No, I didn't know nothing about they even finding him. And Marvin Simpson had told me that.
Not the day that they found him. Hell, he got killed the night before when you followed him, Fred. That's when he was killed. The next day was when they found him. The joggers found him early in the morning inside of that park. But he'd been dead for a while. He was actually off about the time you followed him over to where he ended up unalived at, right? You followed him. And in my opinion, you didn't pass the polygraph. So in my opinion, I don't know why you ain't in prison for the death of Cotton Simpson. You knew what law enforcement told no one. You knew exactly what killed this man when no one else did. I don't know why you ain't in jail. I don't know what the hell's going on in Tennessee, but I'm going to tell you, these motherfuckers all should be in prison and they're not. Explain that, Tennessee law enforcement. Explain it.
They had found him. That he told me that Betty Jo Simpson had called him and told him that they had found cotton and stuff, and that he had a big gash in the back of his head and stuff. That's why they give me a polygraph, because they hadn't released that he had a gash in the back of his head. And the only reason I knew is because she had told Marvin, and Marvin had told me.
I know. I personally talked with that woman. She didn't tell you shit. You're a damn liar. You're a damn liar. She didn't tell you shit like that. Why are you saying that? No, she didn't. That's bullshit.
And that's the only reason I knew, you know.
Right. Hold on, I'm trying to find out exactly when Cotton passed away.
Best time.
Now watch. Because this is what law enforcement will do to you. When they're questioning you, this is what they'll do to you. Because if you know the dates, then they know your ass is involved. Because people who ain't involved don't know what they did yesterday. People only remember, dates when it means something to them. When it means something to them, they remember it. Like you remember, maybe when your parents passed away. A lot of people don't remember that. But some people do because it was very significant to them. Anniversaries, birthdays, there's certain dates that mean something to you, and you don't ever forget that date. You don't forget, no matter how hard you damn try, you can't forget it because it's so significant to you.
Remember, it was, I want to say February the 14th or something. I don't,
And watch, he even knows the fucking year. Yeah, it was February the 14th on 2021. And I'll tell you what, I was sitting there looking straight at the date too. I'm like,
2023 maybe? I'm not for sure.
Oh, he was for sure.
Seemed like that's what date I remember somebody saying. I'm not for sure.
February the 14th, 2023. Exactly.
But see, Cotton used to work at Warriors Path up there as a maintenance before, a few years before Summer went missing and stuff.
And he came out on disability.
Yeah.
And he was getting quite a bit of money. He had been in jail for 6 months, and that money had piled up in his bank account, which would have come to around $18,000. It's what he would have had in his bank. And when he was at your house, and then the following morning he was found dead.
The next day, sometime the next day, I don't know what time.
He was found dead.
They said some hikers had found him or something.
Right, the next morning. And Don and Candace, he said he was up there. Now, could he have left your house and stopped by the Wells house?
No, because me and Marvin actually had followed him and stuff to the top of the mountain, and we turned around that top of the mountain at the Mountain View at the stop sign, because when he was at my house, he was wanting to buy a boat and stuff, and I was in partners with somebody else on the boat, and I told him I couldn't really price it right then. I had to get with them and stuff to take and find out what they wanted for their part, Right. And then he got to talking about he was worried about having money and stuff on him. And I don't know why he was talking about worried about getting robbed or whatever. But me and Marvin actually followed him we was trying to make sure he made it home or whatever. But once he got to the top of the mountain, instead of turning left to go to his house, he turns right and goes towards Betty Joe's, because Betty Joe lives on that same right past where the cemetery and stuff.
Now, was Cotton driving his own vehicle, or was somebody else driving it? Was Cotton unalived up there, or was he unalived at Fred's place before they even, and they moved him? Fred seemed to know exactly, exactly the wound. He knew the very wound that took this man out, right? Exactly where it was in his head. He knew all the details about this man. He took a lie detector's test and he failed it. So where was Cotton really unalived? And who was really driving his vehicle? And why was Fred and Laura seen smoking the same brand of cigarettes Cotton had inside of his vehicle that day, but disappeared, wasn't there when law enforcement found him? Why was all of his money gone? And why did his mother end up unalived just 1 month before him? And he came up unalived after he went to Fred's, having a conversation with Fred about Summer. And Laura asked about that conversation, and he said, I'm protecting you. Fred did. I'm not going to tell you what the conversation's about because I'm protecting you. You don't need to know. Right? So where was this man unalived? Where was he unalived at? Who was truly driving his vehicle? And why did Fred and this guy follow him when he's inside of a locked vehicle, just going to go up over the thing and go home? Why would they bother to even follow him if he was truly driving his own vehicle? Right? Oh, he did. He had money. He had quite a bit of money. And his mother, no, Cotton had told his mother that he had saw Summer in a box at Fred's house. He told other people, other family members, that he has seen Summer. He said, if anything happens to me, I want you to know that I seen that little girl in a box at Fred Hill's house. That's what he told him.
Where they found his vehicle.
Right.
And I thought, well, maybe he's going over there or something to hang out, because he does go over there and hang out with them a lot.
Yeah. Bullshit. Bullshit. But you heard out of his own mouth. He knew that this guy had all the money. He followed this guy. And he lied. He lied. He sat right on Ziggy's channel telling people that Cotton didn't have no money and all of this bullshit. When when you heard right out of his mouth, he told me, yeah, the guy had a ton of money. We were talking about buying a boat. The guy had so much money, he was scared. He was afraid of getting robbed, on his fucking way home inside of a vehicle that, windows rolled up, doors locked. Come on. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I think he did just chilling. I think he meant that black tote. I really do. And ain't it strange? Ain't it strange that that's exactly where, and Don Wells, listen to Don Wells.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right.
Don, do you know who a Chad Arnold is?
Yes, I do.
And so somebody asked me. Said,
Yeah, Chad Arnold was married
died.
to. No, he didn't die.
I thought he died.
Not that I'm aware of, anyway. But Chad Arnold was at Fred Hill's house when when Candace was looking for Summer. She drove back in a holler to Fred Hill's house, and Chad Arnold was hanging out back there.
There you go. There you go. Don Wells admitted that Candace went down to Fred's and met up with Chad Arnold. He admits it. And Chad didn't go to law enforcement. A camera caught him. A camera caught Chad going out of Ben Hill Road, Candace going out of Ben Hill Road with Chad Arnold. Both vehicles was leaving Ben Hill Road, going out onto Beach Creek. One right behind the other, leaving out of Beach Creek, and a camera caught them. The camera actually caught them, both following each other out onto Beach Creek. There you go. And Don Wells, and they didn't tell. They didn't tell the law enforcement any of this. Law enforcement seen it, and then law enforcement started looking for Chad Arnold. They started looking for him, and they had to go get him, and they had to literally question him. He wasn't about to give it up. And if it wasn't for the neighbor's camera down, one of the neighbors' trail cams down towards Beach Creek on Ben Hill, if it hadn't been for that particular trail cam picking it up, no one would have ever knew that Candace left out of there with, following Chad Arnold. No one would have ever knew it. They wasn't going to give it up and tell it. But Don knows everybody knows. And he admitted. He admitted it. There you go. And then listen to Andy. Listen to what Andy has to say.
I have said this since the beginning to people that made a difference. That I've told people about having the dream that I've, in the open grave. It's been told. It's not a lie. And I have heard my whole life that the best time to get rid of somebody is when there's an open grave. The dude was buried on what day? The 18th? Okay, so 3 days after Summer went missing, they buried that dude. Do you think they dug the grave the day that Summer went missing? I'm saying it was dug between the day the dude died and the day Summer went missing, the 11th. Not if she went over there on the 15th when Candace.
Now, listen to Andy. He knows all the dates. Man, he knows every date too. Because it's significant to him. It's significant to him. They knew exactly when Timothy Morrison died. Timothy Morrison was no relation to none of these people. But they knew exactly the fucking day he died. They knew exactly when his grave was getting dug. And they knew exactly the day he got buried. Do you find that suspicious? Put a 1 in the chat if you find that suspicious. Because I sure the fuck do.
Left at some point in time off that fucking hill, took her over there. Maybe she went to Fred's and Fred helped her. If it was open on the 15th, all she would have had to do is go over there and dig down just a little bit more, put her in there, cover her back up. When they brought the vault in a few days before they buried the dude, the concrete vault would have been set on top of it, and nobody would have known no different. And we know who dug the graves. We know all that shit. So I don't think nobody would have paid any attention to if she was done in there the day of the 15th. I have said this.
There you go. There you go. Man, he took it from A to mother freaking Z. A to Z. Just how it went down. Just exactly how it went down. From A to Z. And I believe him. And I believe him. Just like I believe Jody Sue. When Jody Sue said they're over there sedating little kids to be touched, I believed her. And I believe him. And I think if they want to find Summer, that's exactly where they're going to find her. Exactly. Inside of a black tote. I think, in my opinion, they pull that mother freaking casket and that vault out of there, they're going to find that little girl down in that dirt in a black tote. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to tell you, those hills have eyes. Those hills right there had eyes. And those hills right there have tongues. The problem is, it's all one tongue. It's all one tongue wrapped up in the same evil shit. And all of them, you know, if one falls, they all fall. And it brings the whole hill down. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Right? I'm going to tell you, all of these people, I've looked into almost all of these people living on Ben Hill Road in that area. And all of them's got some real fucking dirty skeletons in the closet. Some real dirty skeletons. One of them on there is even a sheriff that has mother freaking dirty laundry that you wouldn't believe. Straight up. Been terminated from the job twice. Rehired 3 times. Fired, hired, fired, hired. Absolutely. There's some sick people up there, y'all. Some sick people. And I'm going to tell you, I just don't believe, I just do not believe. They were running their own. They were running their own. If, in my opinion, they was running their own trafficking shit right there. They had a bunch of weird sickos with some sick fetishes, and they were catering to them. Don Wells was doing it in Utah. He was doing it in Arkansas, and he was doing it on Ben Hill Road. This motherfucker has been in that business for a while. Using children to get what he wants from other people. And I'm going to tell you what, something really, really bad went wrong. Something really bad went wrong. That little girl was very sick, and they had no choice but to go to prison or destroy her. And I believe they went out to that swimming hole while that grave was open. They went out to that swimming hole. It was perfect timing. Don fires his co-worker up. He starts driving a vehicle that's got Starlink to protect his ass. He gets Grandis and Candace to make an excuse to go into Kingsport to pick up Hunter, who is going to execute what they wanted done. And they take him to the swimming hole. And it all gets done. And they come back and they got more people like Chad Arnold that actually digs these graves. Candace follows them out. They go over there. And you know, law enforcement's looking everywhere, and the whole time the little girl is stuck down in this grave, someone else's grave, ready to be buried. The whole time. And who in the hell would ever think of that? Who the hell would think to look there? Nobody. And Don Wells, that's why he had the smirk on his face. That's why he was standing there saying she won't ever be found. It's because he thought that they actually executed the perfect crime. The perfect crime. Until Andy ran his mouth. Jody Sue ran hers first, but she ran it She ran it in a Discord where there ain't a lot of people to snatch onto it and give it the clout it should have had. But Andy, he wasn't in a Discord. He was right out here, you know, saying it, you know, just bluntly saying it. And we was able to see it, grab onto it, and blow it up and start looking into it. And when we did, if you took note, every one of them son of a bitches started coming out of the woodwork like roaches. They started flying out of the woodwork, scattering in every chat, every place. They started watching that graveyard, stalking people up in it. You tell me. You ain't going to get that kind of attention from all of these weirdos if you didn't hit on something, that they were afraid of. And they even went over there. They even went to that gravesite and tried to cover it all up, tried to hide it, tried to throw a bunch of brush and everything on it. Like they raked the whole damn graveyard on top of this man's grave, hoping no one would find it. Why would you try to hide it? Because they thought law enforcement was going to come looking for it. And they had it covered, hoping no one, you know, that they would, you know, think the same thing, you know, the same thing that my friend was thinking when he was out there looking. This must be the wrong cemetery. We're going to have to go down to another one. Until, you know, the sun comes out and beams right down on some rock. And if that wouldn't have happened, he wouldn't have found it. It was the grace of God that he found it. Why would they want to hide it like that? He actually cleaned it off. So it could be found. Yeah, straight up. And that's the truth. Hey, PG's little girl, I appreciate it, hon. God bless. I appreciate your support for the channel. Amen. Absolutely. Who is Lips? I don't know that Lips lady. I don't watch her. I had an altercation with her when I first came out here. I had an altercation with her, and I ain't had no more. But she's on Ziggy pretty hard, Fred and Ziggy. You know, can't tell you what all that dispute is about, because I don't watch that channel. I don't have nothing to do with it. It seems to be a lot of drama, a lot of hatred. I don't get into that. You know, that just ain't for me. I don't get into all that hatred shit. But yeah, it's a lot of hate. No, I like I said, I don't watch her. I know about the dark web. I know what's down the dark rabbit holes. I think we all do, you know. But, you know, there's a lot of, I'm not going to say that there's not a whole lot of sick stuff going on in our world. There's a lot of sick stuff going on in this world. You know, there's a lot of sick human beings, and this world is trying to compromise for these people. You know, once upon a time, we lived in a country that didn't accept this bullshit. We lived in a country where people didn't accept people touching children. You know, we didn't call it a mental issue. Let's give them child-sized dolls to keep them from, you know, violating real children. We didn't do that shit. We wasn't going to accommodate mother freaking people that had a demon in them, evil enough to touch children. We was going to take a human like that and we was going to put them away where they can't touch children. We was going to put them away in a mental institution where they belong, because they're seriously fucking not right in the head if they're touching children. And we got them out of society so children would be safe away from these kind of people. But today, you know, you have all of these people who, you know, I don't think people think normal anymore. I don't think people have normal fucking minds any longer. I think people, you know, for the majority of human beings, I think they just don't give a shit until it roosters in their own front yard, till some weirdo, you know, till one of them weirdos touch their kid, then, you know, they don't care. And that's the problem. And if you don't care about these weirdos touching other people's kids, then your kids are going to be subject to getting touched because nobody's doing nothing about it. You know, it will end up, you know, roosting in your front yard at some point. Maybe not with your kids, but grandkids or great-grandkids or great-great-grandkids. But at some point, it'll roost in your yard as well, because, you know, nobody's doing nothing to make the law stiffer. Nobody's standing up for these children and to get these people out of our damn society so children can be safe. Nobody's, you know, standing up and saying, no, we're not going to make child-sized dolls for these people because the doll ain't going to be enough, or the doll's going to make them want a child even worse, right? A real one. And that would maybe subject kids even more so if you give them shit like that. And, you know, basically what you're saying is society's fucking accepting their sickness. And we're not. I sure the hell ain't. But, you know, that's the point. And people's minds just don't seem to think normal anymore. It's like, you know, you got all these wicked minds fusing together, corrupting the fucking hell out of society. And society is becoming like these corrupted minds and becoming, you know, pretty wicked too. And, you know, when you accept stuff, when you accept evilness, you accept this, you know, evil stuff on your TV set, and you accept all this evilness around you. If you accept it, you're probably going to go to Hades with it. God's going to, are you going to stand there and tell God, oh, I accepted it? Oh yeah, God, I accepted the evil stuff. I didn't throw my TV out. I just accepted it. You know, that's what they were playing. I didn't try to, you know, get away from, you know, all of this evilness going on in the world, I just accepted it. Because that's what it is. I ain't accepting that shit. I'm going to tell you what, that Bible tells you what you better accept and what you better not. And I'm sticking with God. I'm sticking with God. I don't care. It's just the way it is. I don't give a damn what humans think. I don't give a flying fuck what humans think. But I do care what God thinks. And that's the truth. Now, I might cuss a little bit. Hey, in this world, it makes you cuss. It'll make a preacher cuss. Trust me, I know. I know. And I'll tell you something. I'm not accepting this evilness. When I turn my TV on, I turn it on to something wholesome. I watch old movies. I don't watch stuff that offends my eyes or my ears. And I'm not accepting that shit. I pick and choose what I want to watch. And I don't watch anything that is evil. I don't watch it. I don't want to watch it. I don't need to watch it. And I'm not going to accept, these weirdos who touch children. I'm not accepting that shit either. I'm not going to agree to give them a doll. I say, give them a mother freaking padded cell somewhere out of society so that they can't be doing anything to a fucking doll. You're going to give them a doll to violate. You're going to give them a fucking child's doll to violate. Are you kidding me? That's sick. My little girl had doll babies. Matter of fact, she still likes, porcelain dolls. I can't think of some weirdo violating a mother freaking child's toy. Doll babies are for little girls, right? I'm not going to accept, God made Adam and Eve. That's the way it is. And that's how I believe. And I don't care. I don't care who it offends. I don't give a damn. Because it offends me. It offends my God. And that's all I care about. I'm going to tell you what, I'm on a righteous path to the righteous place. I don't accept none of this evil shit. I don't accept people destroying little children. I don't accept any of this stuff going on in this world. And I'm going to tell you, the Bible says we'll be prosecuted. We'll be prosecuted for his name's sake. Prosecute me. Prosecute me. I'm going to tell you what, if my children liked, overly like me, then I ain't doing my job. If society overly likes me, I'm not doing my job. That's how I feel. When people hate on me, it makes me know I'm doing what's right in the sight of God. And that makes me feel good. That makes me feel good. Hate me. God loves me. That's all that matters. I'm not going to live forever here, but I'm sure the heck going to live forever in heaven. And that's what I'm here for, is to prove to God I'm worthy to be in heaven. And when I get there, I'm going to tell you what, I don't care what kind of hell I got to go through on this earth. It was worth it. It was worth it. I'm going to tell you, the only person who's going to be there for you when no one else is God. I know that firsthand. I've been there. I've been there more than once. I've been there so many times when there's nobody there but him. The only person I've ever been able to count on is God. and his son, Jesus Christ. So I'm not out to please anyone but them. That's just how it is. So when I come out here, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. I'm here for Summer Moon Utah Wells. I'm here for a little girl who I feel was severely abused and neglected and destroyed by some sick individual human beings that had no mercy, no kindness, no love, no mother freaking respect, no anything for this child. And I have none for them. You want mercy, then you need to. You want to obtain mercy, you've got to have mercy. Well, they didn't have no mercy on her, and I don't think they deserve any mercy on them when it comes to solving this case and putting their asses in prison. Now, that's my opinion. I think they belong where all evil fucking human beings should be. And that's just the way it is. Hey, PG's little girl, I appreciate it. I got super chat. Summer's Army, love you, Mom. Hey, girl, I love you too. You know it. But, you know, it is what it is, you guys. It is what it is. And I'm going to tell you, this true crime community out here, it's passing away. You know, I hate to say it, but there's just not as many people in it any longer, because I think due to the fact that you got people like Ziggy, you got people like her who lied to people, who lied to folks and told, you know, she basically lied to people, got them, you know, believing that she's a good person and everything. And she basically, you know, cheated them out of a lot of stuff and did them super wrong. And, you know, you had too many scams out here. You had too many, you know, scams going on, too many people getting, you know, feeling bad, you know, just like this last one. You know, that just happened, you know, right here, like this. What the hell happened? What the hell happened to the lie detectors test? What happened to Fred taking the lie detectors test, Andy taking a lie detectors test? What happened to all of that? They was over, from my understandings, there was over $500 and some gathered together. People giving hundreds and 50s and 20s for these guys to be taking, you know, lie detectors test. And that fucking Cher and Ziggy, they corresponded together and act like they were pissed off at each other, and they scammed a bunch of people. And I'm pretty sure they split the fucking money. And, you know, they haven't been going at each other since, have they? They haven't been arguing or going at each other no more. You know, and that's what's taken this community down. That's what's taking it down. Right there. This kind of shit right there. And, you know, and creators just can't keep these channels open no more. Because, you know, nobody's getting the support to help keep these channels open. So most of them shutting down or just coming on once in a while, and, you know, and pretty much just kind of forgetting about it. And these kids really needed these voices. These kids out here really depended on us to, you know, do what's righteous in the sight of God for them, to try to do all we could to bring them home and find them and all of the stuff. But, you know, it ain't happening. It ain't happening because, you know, nobody wants to support the channels any longer. Nobody wants to help keep the channels running because of bullshit like this right here. These people are destroying the true crime community for children. They're destroying the voices for the voiceless. They're destroying it. And it just ain't going nowhere anymore. I mean, like Benny. Benny tried to come back, but he had, but he's kind of not back at all. Because, he can't afford to run his channel. He can't afford to run his channel. I mean, he depends. He depends on support to keep the channels going. All of these people did. They, but something happened. Something happened to where you got the people like this out here that, that used and abused it. And because of this handful of users and abusers, it's destroyed the whole entire thing pretty much. And creators they just work too hard. They work too hard, at what they do. They work too hard. And it's an overload. It's an overload to do what we do. Hey, Gene, I appreciate that. God bless. There I go. I got a super chat. I appreciate it. But that's what it is. It's what it is. I'm going to tell you, this channel right here is the one that had to bring Summer to the forefront. You know how long it took us to get the focus on Summer and off of everything else, off of Dawn's sisters, off of religion, off of Robin, the church girl, off of all the other distractions, off the light boys, off of that guy that was up there. What was his name? Hell, I should know it right off the top of my head, but some reason it's not coming to me. But anyway, we went through the Bernards. We went through, every time we turn around, Don was trying to cause a distraction. He was trying to put the focus on everything, the lights, the Bernards, everyone he could. Jackie Dobbs, his co-worker Dudley, he was trying to, everything and everybody. Wayne Morlock, I mean, he was getting desperate for people to throw under the bus, to take the focus off of Summer, to take it off of the, the real issue at hand, the real gold at hand. He worked so hard, and to keep the focus off of him and Candace and Summer. He was trying to put Summer in the background, put the attention on everything else, so people would keep supporting him and Candace, and they did for a while. And it was terrible. It was terrible, but it was going on. And it was a horrible sight. It was a horrible sight to see, but it took us a long time to put Summer front and center, get everybody focused on her, the true victim, and the questions about her, and to stop letting Dawn and Candace detour everybody and going around Mulberry Bush with a bunch of bullshit constantly. And finally we got it straightened out, and all the focus on this particular child. And we were able to, at that point to really start putting the puzzle together and piece by piece by piece. And it took us, it took us up until now to really understand what fully went down before and on and after June 15, 2021. But we worked our asses off to get where we're at now. And what really, upsets me is you have these people coming out and trying to distort it all again with a bunch of down the rabbit hole bullshit. And, some woo-woo stuff, and that, trust me, is a bunch of bullshit. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. And, to my understanding, that particular lady that was talking with Don and Candace, Serafina or Della, I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even care. But that particular lady seems to hold a lot of hate. She, her story, I've heard her story has changed multiple times, and I heard people say she supposedly worked with law enforcement and stuff, but there don't seem to be no solid evidence to that. No solid evidence to it. So I don't know. I have no freaking idea. I just know that, my Bible tells me to stay the hell away from that stuff. My Bible tells me that if I want to know something, I need to pray upon it. The Lord will guide me. He'll give me the wisdom I need to figure it out. And I got to trust in my God. And I think my God has given us the answers little by little. I think my God has let us figure it out. And, and it's just a matter of Summer being found. And, what is this lady going to say if they find Summer down in that grave? What is she going to say? What is she going to say then? She was wrong. Oh, I was wrong. Well, are you ever going to be able to get what she said out of your head? Are you going to ever be able to get over the death and the death of what she said and how she said it and the tragedy that she said Summer was put through? Are you ever going to be able to forget men and masks scaring this child beyond what a child should be scared? Are you ever going to forget the horrific things she says they did and put this child through? Like, you're going to be fucking traumatized for a long time over all of that shit that wasn't even true. It's going to traumatize you. And nobody should have had to hear that. Nobody should have had to hear it. We love Summer. We love her. And I personally don't want to hear it. Just saying. Just like I don't want to hear, bad stuff about the boys. They're just barely getting their life together. They're doing the best they can through the tragedy they went through. And, They don't need to be exploited out here. What they need is, some prayers and compassion. In the space to try to get past all of this and live a normal life. That's what they need. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. All right, you guys, PG's going to get out of here. I just came in tonight because, I couldn't believe Fred Hill said what he said about this baby. I want him to show that picture. I want him to show it because it don't exist, and I feel that he's seen it all right. He's seen it, and he fucked up and said, told he saw it before he realized, before he realized that it wasn't a picture. It was, he got confused. That's what I think. And that happens to people. It happens to people every day. Sometimes, you can get mixed up. You can get mixed up in, somebody's talking about something. You can accidentally spit something out, and then realize you probably shouldn't have. And I think that's what happened. And I think Ziggy tried to come in and play, Captain Save Somebody. And it didn't work out too good for her, did it? It didn't work out too good because, oh, well, that wouldn't be the picture. We wouldn't have the picture because she saw this in a vision. We want to see that damn picture that fucking Fred had in his vision. The one he said existed. And no one has seen but Fred. No one has seen it but Fred. We want to see it too, right? You'd be surprised if people try to come to someone's rescue. You'd be surprised because people don't want to think that people are that evil. And these suspects are likable. Fred can be likable. Don Wells, he could be likable. Andy Bernard could be likable. Jody Sue could be likable. Candace Wells could be likable. These people can be likable. Evil had no one knows. Evil has many, many, many faces. Many faces. And they can all be likable. But when you go liking them, you put yourself at risk. You put yourself at risk to be deceived by them. Maybe destroyed. Right? Be careful. Be careful who you find likable. That's all I'm saying. Hey, good night, Heaven's Gateway. All right, y'all. PG's out of here, but not before I ask for the prayers for Summer. I don't ever leave without asking for you to send the prayers up for this little girl. Please send the prayers up for her. That child needs your prayers. She needs your prayers more now than she's ever needed them. We're getting 4 years, 5 months down the road. Remember, when everybody's enjoying Thanksgiving, they're enjoying Christmas. Summer wished she was here to do it too. She had a Thanksgiving 2025 to enjoy. She had a Christmas of 2025 to enjoy, and that got stowed away from her. She will not be enjoying it at all. Like Robin said, Summer don't need no cupcakes and brownies where she's at. She don't need them. Remember those words. Because that came out of the mouth of a woman who was closer to the wells than anyone else, and she should know. She should have known. She was basically saying, hey, Summer's not alive. Definitely not. She don't need none of that. But Summer should. Summer should have been alive. No one had the right to take all of these Christmases, all of these Thanksgivings, all of the birthdays, all the Easters, all the 4th of Julys. No one had a right to take that away from her. They did not have a right to take nothing from this baby, but they did. And if they feel that they had a right to take it from her, they feel they got a right to take it from anyone they want to. And I think they have. Look at Dee Dee. Look at a lot of other people, right? Look at a lot of other people. Right there. Take a look. Just take a look. These people don't stop. They just get worse. They get worse. They don't get better. So when you're sending those prayers up for Summer, make sure you send a prayer up to God. Whoever did this evil stuff to her, make sure you send a prayer up that God gets them out of our society so no one else will be hurt by them. In the name of Jesus, amen. Make sure you say that as well. And pray for Sebastian Rogers, Michael Vaughn, Jack and Lily, little Emmanuel. Pray for all of these babies. They all need our prayers. And the people who did nothing to them, that truly love them, like Summer's brothers love her, like little Michael Vaughn's parents love him, and his brothers and sisters. The way that Sebastian's real father loves him. Jack and Lily's grandparents loved them. They need our prayers too. And the Idaho Forest families, trust me, they haven't got over what happened. They have not gotten over that tragedy. They still need as many prayers as they can get. Let us be the ones praying for them. And pray for one another. Pray for one another. You guys, a family that prays together, stays together. God bless. Much love. I'm going to say good night. I won't be in here tomorrow. I observe the 7th. That's one of God's commandments. I observe it. I'm a Christian. I go to Sunday church. I don't go to Saturday church. I observe the 7th. I stay home. I keep it holy. Stay inside your gates. Keep it holy. Go to church on Sunday. Worship the Lord. Let him know how much you love him, how much you care about him. And the people sitting around you, let them know how much you love and care about them too. Because that's what we're supposed to be doing. Good night, everybody.